The following broadcast is brought to you by A.C.T, Agora Center of Thought. Here only on the Voluntary Virtues Network. Every Saturday, 9 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join us on the dark side of radio. Agora, Anarchy, Action. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Agora Underground. We are live. It is November 1st, Dia de los Muertos, 2014. It is 8 o'clock p.m. We are live every Saturday, as you know, 8 to 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. I am Comrade Dick, your host, and we have Mr. Darian back with us, ladies and gentlemen.
What's going on, everybody? I'm sure you missed me. No, I'm just kidding. Great. Glad to be back on the show. I've been hearing the episodes before this. It's becoming a great show. Richard really mastering the art of, telling you as is the truth speaker, Richard Brody.
Where were you at, Darian? Why were you missing in action?
Oh, yeah. I was working downtown here in San Antonio. I was working at a haunted house, for the season. I worked there last year. It's a thrill. It's real fun. Seeing grown men, scream like little girls and throw their girlfriends in front of them. It was a really fun job. So I guess I missed out on a lot of things, some group meetings, some events. Actually, y'all were doing the 9/11 little march get-together thing downtown, and I was able to hang out with them a little bit before I had to go to work, but unfortunately, I had to go in, so I missed out on that. But I'm back now. The season's done with. I'm back in the game, back here on Voluntary Virtues.
Yeah. I remember that, man. We were downtown speaking the truth. I think September 11th was on a Thursday that this last year, and you were definitely downtown there at the haunted house, all dressed up. I think they were getting training y'all up or something like that.
Yeah, it was a training day.
But we did miss broadcast last week, ladies and gentlemen. The Agora Underground was in Austin, Texas for the weekend, essentially. And, you should definitely check it out. Liberty Beat had their fundraising event and at Brave New Books in Austin, Texas. And it coincided with a Alliance meetup, Alliance of Austin Agoras, which was really neat. Got to hear a lot of great speakers. Personally, my favorites, Cody Wilson, definitely outlining information that is pertinent to the movement and at a level that is definitely for those that are, very much a part of the movement. And of course, Kokesh was there as well. So that was pretty interesting. I've met Kokesh one time before, years ago, before we even all came across to this, came across into anarchy, back in the Ron Paul days. In fact, he came down to Austin back in the day, but this is my first time meeting him as a fellow anarchist, and both of us, being anarchists and fully converted, and it was definitely neat. Yeah.
I actually saw a picture of y'all, sitting down and just chillaxing. Did y'all get any, good conversations come up? Anything?
Oh yeah, we shoot the shit. We didn't really get too deep into philosophical debate, other than maybe the origins and of the left and where the concept of the political left comes from. Kokesh and I kind of butted it out a little bit when it came to that. But other than that, it was a great event.
It was a philosophical debate. Yeah. I bet Kokesh had some interesting things to say about the left.
Yeah. It's just a lot of people might consider it just semantics or details. You're getting in too much into the details of it, but I'm a stickler when it comes to that kind of stuff. And, I really think it's important for us to continuously rectify and reinstate and reiterate to the people that we are the true left. We are the true liberals, and people that call themselves leftists and are in fact collectivists or communists or socialists of a kind of a flavor. Those aren't the real left. I mean, the left historically, the political left is, as we read, this came from the French Revolution. It was the laissez-faire free market capitalists that sat on the left during the assemblies of the French Republic. So, this is the origin of it. And in fact, our founding fathers were very much in favor of a lot of these radicals in France, and they came here to America and wrote a radical document known as the Constitution, which for the most part is pretty leftist, except for the monopoly on the courts and monopoly on the money and monopoly on
and the idea that document
taxation.
has to be binded to unborn children and unborn population.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's totally non-leftist, non-liberal, right? It's very much conservative, like the idea that the state exactly automatically bestows these things upon you, enforces these things upon you. This is the old way of kings and queens and popes and pharaohs, right?
Yeah.
Well, as y'all know, we have been reading through the New Libertarian Manifesto, and it's been a quite interesting of a read, especially since we read Rothbard's critique to it before we started getting into it. And it seems like Rothbard's critiques were he didn't mention enough of the good things that were in this book. There's a lot of really good points in this book.
Yeah, I actually remember that. I can recall Rothbard saying a lot of things about the new Libertarian Manifesto. He was chopping them up, it seemed like, a little bit.
Yeah, what did he call them? Counter-revolutionary.
Counter-revolutionary, if I can Stalinist term.
To not vote as a counter-revolutionary act. And in fact, I got into a big debate with an ANCAP today, an anarcho-capitalist today, because he was very much involved with the parliamentary process and involved with voting and the Libertarian Party and all these things. And he was trying to basically call me out, saying that I was a statist anarchist because I didn't want to vote. That somehow I had given into their some kind of statist paradigm of some sort because I wanted to not vote. I didn't really understand it. I couldn't really grasp it there.
An anarcho-statist?
What?
What?
And there was it's just weird. Well, they said I had a statist tendencies like my mind still wasn't fully free to statism because I wasn't willing to vote to free myself.
What? Vote to free yourself?
Well, and they kept giving examples of, well, what if a vote came up where it was a proposal to lower taxes? If you don't vote to lower taxes, then you're actually hurting the cause. And then I kind of like throw it back at them, and it's like, really? Well, when's the last time you heard that there was a vote on lowering taxes? Like, right? I mean, when's the last time that came up?
It seems to me like they're all just going up. It's all uphill.
Yeah, it's just all uphill from here.
But it's funny because it's like, okay, why do we have taxes in general? Why do we why are we gonna have theft in general? On a mass scale, it's just kind of ridiculous. So you got to vote. Then we can have less money stolen from us. At least it's a little better.
Yeah, right. Let's vote to make our leash a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But we'll still be on a leash. And the whole point really is, some reform, okay, may give you an inch, an inch of space there. Oh, we decriminalized marijuana. We brought down taxes by, 2%. Okay, great. Good job, guys. Too bad we just gave up on our principles here. Because the fact that we engaged in the democratic process of voting and somehow saying that 51% or whatever percentage of the people decided, and now we get to enforce this on everybody, is counter principled. It's an anti-principle. We can't achieve freedom through democracy. We can't achieve freedom through voting, because if that's how we achieve freedom, then it can very well be taken away through voting and democracy again. All it would take is another vote against that. So voting shouldn't be used as a tactic.
Means to get things done.
Not really, no, as a tactic, because in the end we're kind of shooting ourselves in the foot by allowing future votes to take away our freedom again.
Yeah, we're putting ourselves in the barrel.
Exactly. Instead of declaring these things as natural rights, right? People have a natural right to trade and not be infringed upon. People have a natural right to self-medicate, a natural right to form their own voluntary associations or disassociate with people, right? A natural right to
pretty
contract.
much what you're saying is that every human being is born with the power to make their own decisions. Who's going to disagree with that? Like, It's just so simple, but a whole lot of people don't get the concept.
Don't get the concept, and they don't see how democracy undermines that cause, that the cause for universal law, for natural law, right? Democracy is undermining to that. And then the final point, obviously, voting legitimizes, encourages, and it's like a rubber stamp in effect. Our sanction, we're sanctioning the state's existence. We're saying, in the end, we are saying that they have a right to do these things because we are partaking in the system that, gives them those rights. I mean, it's not right. It's not.
It's a big joke.
It's a big joke. These are anti-principles. These are reactionary. These are counterproductive, counter-revolutionary tactics. I mean, we can't reform the state if we acknowledge the state to be
an entity
that consists of individuals that have usurped power, that have granted themselves powers that don't exist, that should never be granted to anybody, that these are a usurpation of power. Then why are we voting? Right? We're only legitimizing their existence. To not vote and to be vocal about it would actually be a bigger deal, I think, even than voting a libertarian candidate into office, because that in itself is a huge contradiction. Oh, we have a libertarian candidate who gets paid by tax dollars. How does that one make sense?
That's who it is.
Yo, we got Steve up in here.
Steve coming in.
But we are live, Steve, at the moment. But yeah, it's just kind of it throws me off when people are so quick to want to use the political process when we've already come to the conclusion that the state is nothing but a bunch of criminals, a bunch of gangs, a bunch of thugs, the monopoly of force and violence on a given geographical area over a given people. And then somehow we want to use referendum and the voting process as a means to change that. I don't think it's going to work. I really don't. You can't hold gangsters and criminals accountable. So this is what I love about agorism, right? It's the we're circumventing. We're totally going through the paradigm that the state outlines for us. We're not even following within their given parameters. Agorism seeks to totally, render the state obsolete through technology and through risk, right? Through the risk of engaging in counter economic activity. And this is just the nature of human action. It seeks to preserve its own. And that actually leads us to the chapter that we're on today. So, but what do you think about that, Darren, as far as the voting thing, man? I mean, it just kind of pisses me off that not that it pisses. Look, I don't feel technically like pissed off or offended that people are voting. I just feel kind of offended that they think that I'm somehow, they want to start calling me names first. I'm the counter-revolutionary. I'm the statist for not voting. And it's like, well, wait a minute. If we're going to get into that debate, well,
that just really tickles me in a way, though. Like, it's just like, that's funny. Like, I'm the statist because I don't want to vote. See, to me, voting is a lot like what Jesus said. Thou shalt not cast, stone unless,
he who without sin cast the first stone.
Yeah, there you go. Sorry about that. I'm not a Christian, so I don't know the exact verse. But voting's a lot like the same thing. I don't like the way you live. I don't like, I don't like this guy smoking a plant. So, I'm gonna write to my local congressman or my senator, and then I'm gonna vote on whoever is gonna, dissolve this problem for me. I don't want gay people to get married. So I'm gonna vote for the representative or senator that is gonna abolish them to, do that. And it's a lot like that. And people just don't wake up to the idea that when we vote, we're giving, like Richard said, we're giving these people power that they weren't naturally born with. They weren't born with the power to, we're going to start, embezzling people's hard-earned tax dollars. We're going to, start this off. So you're going to have to pay more taxes for, your business permit, your business license. These aren't powers that were given to an individual by birth. No, it was a power given to them by government. And the more we advocate such things, the more it's going to happen, the more we see it.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true, Darian. And in so many cases, back when I used to vote, I would vote based on principle. So I didn't really care whether my candidate was electable or not. Right. But think about it. People that actually care about voting, like really take it seriously, they want their candidate to win, which means that they're most likely going to vote willing to compromise on principle in order to cast a vote for a candidate that's that's more likely to get elected rather than the radical, right? The radical libertarian candidate or the principal candidate is vote for somebody that's kind of halfway there that has some support. So you end up, it's compromise. You end up compromising your principles just to get a half-ass politician elected.
Half-ass politician.
That isn't going to even, and then so what? So they can maybe pass one reform or a tax cut of some sort
that only helps out, just that elect group of individuals who voted for that guy. I mean, it doesn't help out the people who didn't vote for him.
Yeah. Right. I mean, that's another point too. I mean, we're just looking for politicians are just hand out goodies, right? They just hand out goodies to all the people that voted for them, and that's just all they do.
And it's funny how you're talking about like halfway, right? Like a candidate can act like he's a libertarian, halfway he's a little, he's a little left, but he's just enough status to get by in the elections.
Exactly. Right. I mean,
it's a smiley glad hand in that sense, like he's showing you one thing, but his agenda and his personality and his whoever's backing him up in his policies, is a completely different story.
Yeah. It's the same. Exactly. It's the same thing I used to get all the time when I would ask people if they would vote for Ron Paul or whatever back in 2008. And they would say, well, I really like Ron Paul. I really, I believe a lot of those things that Ron Paul believes. I just don't think he's electable. I don't think he can win. I think it's a waste of vote.
Because he's too liberal.
So it's like, so it's just like, wow. Like, so you see how quickly like people have the principles. They believe in freedom. But, oh, hey, we can't just go all the way freedom. We got to take little baby steps there. And while you're taking those baby steps, the freaking state is like what, doing a marathon towards statism, like in the other direction. So you might get an inch or two of freedom at the expense of a whole bunch of more state, because that's all the state's been doing is growing, ladies and gentlemen. And that's going to continue to grow until it finally collapses all of civilization, right? I mean,
pretty much, right?
Pretty much. I mean, we are the global empire. So
what's the title of this chapter here we're reading? So
anyway, this is the last chapter in the NLM. It is, I think, one of the shortest ones too. But it's chapter 5, action, our tactics. So definitely check this out, guys. We'll go ahead and start here. It says that the previous chapter discussed some tactics in passing, a few that have been found productive for radical libertarians and the MLL, include infiltration of less radical groups and sparking splits by presenting alternatives, confrontation of coercion or deviation with visible protest and rejection, day-to-day personal salesmanship among friends, libertarian social groups such as support clubs to exchange information, goods, and support, and it acts as a proto-agora, and of course publications, public speaking, writing fiction with agorist messages, and educational activities in many forms, video games, cartoons, teacher, businessmen, consultants, entertainers, revisionist historians, agorist economists, etc., etc. Were you gonna say something, Darian? Oh, okay, my bad, dude. So here's, kind of saying that we gotta bring it in from all angles, but we gotta remain consistent to our principles. And there's many ways, that you can add to anarchy. I mean, many ways to do it, to add something to it. So successful tactics can only be discovered and used and passed on. Those who perceive sufficiently similar conditions in time and place to those of another where a tactic worked can use it. But it is all risk. That is what activism is, a type of entrepreneurship, of guessing the market and supplying the demand. One can become better and better at making good guesses. That's what makes a successful entrepreneur. It's all in human action by von Mises, if you can apply it. To find out what has been tried and worked or failed, communication is necessary. If you have reached this page and agreed and have a desire to support resistance or a burning need to resist coercion, you are ready for the MLL or the NLA in existence, the New Libertarian Alliance in existence. Depending on the phase we are currently in chapter 4, we need to free ourselves and get active. So this is, in a lot of ways, this is that fire of liberty. I mean, it's hard to explain, but it's this is something that Kokesh mentioned at the talk, that in a lot of ways it's like a religious experience. Like once you've gone into it and you've analyzed, the state from so many angles that you finally see it for what it is clearly, it like causes a fire to ignite in your soul and in your mind that will never be put out.
You're kind of like, I gotta stop this. I gotta get out and I gotta tell people. I gotta tell people the truth. They're all asleep. It's a real life zombie apocalypse out there. I know what he's talking about, because I felt this fire too, and I still feel it every day. Even when I'm doing this show, I still feel the fire. Like seeing the state apparatus for what it is, just a big old illusion, a big old ball of power of nothing. And when I saw this, yeah, of course I wanted to get out there. I wanted to show people, like, look at it for what it is. It's just nothing. It's a ball of air. It's people, just nothing.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of people stealing from everybody else.
Yeah. And there is a fire, and the fire is revolution in the heart and the mind.
Yeah, and not status revolution, right? Where we want to put in our own person of power or bring back the old ways or something like that. We true revolution where the Agora is finally brought about. That would be awesome to see.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to get ourselves active, get ourselves educated and active. So what phase are we in? In October of 1980, the first edition, most of the planet Earth is in phase 0. The British Isles, Australia, and Canada have moved substantially towards phase 1. North America is in phase 1. Only the highest concentration of libertarians today in Southern California are the first signs of phase 2 coming into fruition. Assuming the situation is not reversed, the first few droplets of actual Agora societies, the anarcho villages, are nucleating a viable sub-society. The movement of the libertarian left exists only in California, with a few scattered nuclei, agents and cells, in alliance. The New Libertarian Alliance, previously proclaimed, was found premature, and the NLA remains an embryo or a nucleus until objective conditions arrive to sustain it. The MLL has its work cut out for it. Externally, the worldwide collapse of the left has weakened restraints on the competitive segments of the state who are rushing towards war to remystify their restive victims with patriotism. Seizing the abandoned leadership of the anti-imperialism, anti-war, and anti-conscription movement with a fresh, invigorating ideology, backing has become an opportunity for libertarians to become the left. The MLL has to compete with partyarchy, right? People that are into politics, and monocentrist elements for this preeminence. The lurching of American plutocracy from the brink of a runaway inflation to depression and back again, and ever wilder swings, has panicked large numbers of complacent businessmen and raised their consciousness beyond conservative assurance of restoring stability to consider radical and even revolutionary alternatives. Only the libertarian left can win these entrepreneurs towards an ideological, non-pragmatic position. Therein lay our opportunities. I love that. The idea that businessmen are a huge alliance that we can reach out to. That's a huge opportunity base for people that we can recruit for the movement, because who else better is gonna understand the plights of and the evils of statism than the
business owner,
the
producer, the
themselves.
entrepreneur.
Yeah, they're gonna see the state for what it is. They're gonna know that a huge chunk of their profit, of their investment, of their licensing. It's all taken away by the state and given to the state.
And I'm pretty sure we don't gotta tell them that, because I'm pretty sure they know it. They're like, oh, well, I made all this money. Now, with taxes, permits, licensing, and all that, cut your money in half, and this is what you get. They're like, oh, the government got me by the balls, man.
Yeah,
It's taking money out of my pocket, my wallet. My wallet's a little flat. So yeah, I don't think we gotta tell them. I think they already know.
yeah, because a huge chunk of the the businessmen. Yeah, okay, sure. You might argue, okay, well, those are the crony guys, those are the well-to-do, the connected guys. But an even bigger chunk, I would argue, are the oppressed. The oppressed and the held down businessmen that are the ones that are taxed and regulated. So yeah, there's a huge possibility there.
Yeah, the mom and pop shops that have to compete with the monopoly.
Exactly, with the Walmarts and whatnot.
The Walmarts and the McDonald's and
yeah. So he lays here. He continues on here saying that internally, the Libertarian Party has reached a crisis with the 1980 American presidential election. The premature unmasking of the statism inherent in the partyarchy by Crane Clark's blatant opportunism has managed to generate not only left opposition, but right and center opposition as well. Major defections mount daily. The failure of some reformist elements to oust the coctopus by the Denver Convention of August 1981 and lull the unradicalized back in line would set the USLP, United States Libertarian Party, back dramatically and generate thousands of disillusioned recruits for the new Libertarian Alliance and anti-party educational and counter-economic activities. I mean, that's really the main issue right there. This is why Agorists are so disillusioned, so pissed off when it comes to voting, is that so many people feel that just by voting, they've done their part and that's it. They can go back home and go back to whatever, their regular lives, and they have their vote talking, that's their political action, their vote, But I mean, how many people are willing to engage in counter economic activities, are willing to start gray and black market businesses, or are willing to try to figure out how they're going to get a local militia going to watch the neighborhood? I mean, these are things that are in the works for us here in San Antonio. We're trying to figure out, what's the next step here. We can't just leave it at theory. We can't just leave it at political philosophy, at words, even at confronting cops or talking to people. It's got to go proactive. We have to give something, an alternative to how people can run things. And there's already many alternatives out there. I mean, the apps or whatnot where people can communicate, obviously encrypted, without even having a phone connection through Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. And then there's even that one shield protection agency. What was it? Life Shield or Safety Shield or something like that. I'll look it up right here real quick. But
Mutual Shield.
Well, yeah, there's Mutual Shield as well. But I'm thinking about this Peacekeeper app.
Oh, the Peacekeeper app. Yeah, that was an interesting one.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, and I need to find out the details on that. We gotta get that checked out and get signed up for that. But definitely, you got your list of people that you can call as emergency contacts,
like your neighbor or a good friend that would drive down the road in a hurry if you need their help.
Exactly. Instead of calling the cops, right? And this is
waiting for them to get there, and the guy already leaves.
And just all they're going to do is write tickets and question you and search your house, even though you're probably you're the victim and you got your stuff busted. They're going to try to find something.
Yeah.
And then Mutual Shield you were bringing up, Darium. That's basically a contract enforcement agency. If we all sign up to that, they're gonna represent the Agorists, say that we actually want to opt out of the whole system itself. And we need to start living together in the sense that we maybe buying out houses on the same street. I mean, and huddling in the same area of town.
Making Agora communities.
Exactly. We can build from there and build outward. We really have to start to look at these things and analyze these things and see what the next steps are. Because isolated pockets of resistance like this aren't going to last for too long. You eventually get No matter how hot your fire is burning, it's eventually gonna dwindle if you're not with surrounded amongst your peers. You know, if you're not living day by day in this. So with this manifesto as a manual and inspiration, new libertarian strategists and tacticians can research, develop, correct, and enact the new libertarian strategy and the tactics appropriate to the conditions met. Much work is needed, but the projects have consequences no mundane work can provide. An end to politics, to taxation, to conscription, to economic catastrophe, to involuntary poverty, and to the mass murder of warfare and the final war. Society against our enemy, the state. Counter-economics provides immediate gratification for those who abandon status restraint. Libertarianism rewards the practitioner who follows it with more self-liberation and personal fulfillment than any alternative yet conceived. But only new libertarianism offers reformation of society into a moral working way of life without changing the nature of man. Utopias may be discarded. At last, we have a glimpse of how to remold society to fit man rather than remolding man to fit society.
I like that one. I like that one.
Yeah, right. What more rewarding challenge could be offered? Should you now have chosen the new libertarian path, you may wish to join us in our AAA, Oath and Battle Cry, or something like it, and renew it with yourself regularly. And he has a couple battle cries here. He says that, one, we witness to the efficacy, the efficiency, right? The how well it works things out. The efficiency, essentially. We witness to the efficacy of freedom and exult in the intricate beauty of complex voluntary exchange. We demand the right of every ego to maximize its value without limit, save that of another ego. We proclaim the age of the market unbound, the natural and proper condition for humanity, wealth in abundance, goals without end or limit, and self-determined meaning for all. Agora. 2, we challenge all who would bind us to show us cause. Failing proof of our aggression, we shatter our fetters. We bring to justice all who aggressed against any, ever. We restore all who have suffered oppression to their rightful condition. And we destroy forever the monster of the ages, the pseudo-legitimized monopoly of coercion from our minds and from our society, the protector of aggressors and thwarter of justice. That is, we smash the state. Anarchy.
Smash the state.
Smash the state. And 3, we extend our wills to our personal limits, restrained only by consistent morality. We struggle against anti-principles which would sap our wills and combat all who physically challenge us. We rest not, nor waste resources until the state is smashed and humanity has reached its agorist home. Burning with unflagging desire for justice now and liberty forever, we win. Action. Agora, anarchy, action. That's it.
Oh, wow. Agora, anarchy, action. Now, that's one hell of a way to end a book. A3, man, A3. Now,
Cubed, right?
Now, what we got to do, people, we got to invest in ourselves. You know, we got to take this Agora philosophy to heart and to action and into our daily lives. And once we, add that to our daily lives, you can slowly start to see the change, as long as you're consistent with it.
Yeah, I mean, and everything from like how you look at other people that may be different from you. It's a beauty how anarchism frees you from all this judgmental mindset, right? Before I came to anarchy, I was always putting people, like putting a ruler next to people, and judging them according to my standards, I guess. And I didn't even realize I was doing it. I mean, I wasn't like a bigot about it. I wasn't like, egotistical about it. But at the same time, I was doing it subconsciously, and I didn't even really realize it. And anarchy is definitely lifts that burden off your back, because just realizing human action, that each individual is doing the most beneficial thing for them as they see it. Why am I one to judge that? That's them, that's their life, that's their way, that's the way that their mind and their reason and logic are telling them to live and to consume or whatever, to the lifestyle to live. So I can't be judging people like that. Like, so that's just the beauty of, that's one of the many beauties of it. That's one internalization of it right there, is you just start to see people for human beings, and right, very diverse and just different human beings, just because they're different from you, and just because they hold beliefs that are different from you, even beliefs that are completely hostile to mine, people that are communists or socialists. I don't hate, or racist. I personally don't hate them. I just hate their ideas, and their ideas frustrate the heck out of me. But I don't, and I'll debate them all day, but in the end, I don't hate them personally. I feel bad for them, if anything. But I don't feel any aggression towards them,
Yeah, I actually feel the same way about the racism. I got in a debate recently with a friend of mine, someone I knew back in high school. Apparently, they picked up a almost eugenics type of philosophy, something like a jail gang called the Peckerwoods here in Texas. And this is crazy. These people believe they're not entirely racist, right? They're not out there like Ku Klux Klan or any skinhead. No, they just believe that if you're white, you should only breed with white people. Doesn't mean you can't be friends with a black guy or can't be friends with a Mexican. No, you just breed with white people. Now, you see, I don't care if you're racist. Like, I mean, it bothers me to an extent that a person's racist, but I'm not going to sit there and force them to believe something else. Obviously, if you're a racist person, people nowadays in the 21st century society are going to look at you and be like, you seem a little misinformed, man. You don't seem up to date with your beliefs. But hey, that's you. And that is really, like Richard said, the beauty of anarchy, accepting people for what they are, who they are, what they believe. It doesn't matter, really, because as long as it's not affecting you personally, then you really should have no say in what anybody does with themselves. And it's just awesome. It's awesome looking at it through that type of a view, that type of observation, and observing society for being completely different people, being from totally different backgrounds, ethics, thoughts, ideas. It's just amazing.
Yeah, definitely. And hey, whiteys aren't the only ones calling for whites just to breed within themselves. I mean, look at the
La Raza.
The Rasa. Look at the Jews, right? Look at the
Zionists.
It's almost like a sacrilege for a Jew to marry somebody and reproduce with somebody that isn't a Jew. It's almost like you almost gotta get beheaded out there. I mean, look at the Muslims. I mean, so it's funny. Yeah, it's funny how race and religion use the tactic of interbreeding, or not interbreeding like inbred, but like breeding within your own community, I guess. Or but yeah, I mean, it's more statism. I mean, more collectivism. I mean, great Ayn Rand quote, right? I mean, racism is a product of collectivism, right? Only somebody that sees people as whole collectives can be a racist. So if you're an individualist, you realize that every single individual is different. Why? Because you actually experience that personally. You just test it out for yourself. Go talk to different people of the same color, and you'll find out that there's different types of people within the same race, right? So
it doesn't take a genius to figure that one out.
It doesn't take a genius. It just takes a little bit of experience, and that's about it. So only a collectivist will say, oh, well, this one guy of this certain race did this, thus everybody from this certain race is like that. you know, or a male did this to me, thus all men are like this, or a female did this to me and all females are like this. And you know, and that's the collectivist mindset right there. I mean,
which is not the case, right?
which is not the case. And of course there's, I mean, of course there's general stereotypes. Yeah, I mean, you know, all guys love sex. Okay, yeah, whatever, you know, or you know, it's like,
Yeah, but I mean, it's like, it's funny because it's like, okay, like women don't either. Like it's like
right.
because a woman's never been caught cheating on a man, right? Like because you know they're not human, right? They're above us or somehow.
Yeah.
Hey, what was that joke we said earlier? The badges don't grant you extra rights, but pussy does. I don't know if I can say that, but I went ahead and said it. If you're a female, you have extra rights.
Well, and you know, objectively, Darian, I may have to agree with you on that. You know, at least the society that we live in today, with under our government. I mean, hey, you know, women have more rights when it comes to the parental rights. They have more rights when it comes to in a divorce, you know, situation where there's a divorce.
What about within the workplace?
Even in the workplace, they've shown that women with this and men, if you compare them, you know, time worked, whether they're single or married or not, and you know, education and all the factors, you know, factor for factor, you know, same for same. They realize that even, you know, women actually make more. It turns out women make more, you know, when you consider all the factors. The reason the numbers are skewed is because they look at the women that have been married beforehand, or that had a family, and then, you know, they were raising kids for 10, 15 years, and then they try to get back into the workforce. Obviously, you're going to make less than the guy that's been working in the workforce throughout that whole time.
Yeah.
Right? That was pretty obvious, because you have less experience, you have less, you know, just general experience in the workforce. So I mean, and this was broken down. Thomas Sowell and who else broke that down really well? Walter Block found out a bunch of great studies on that.
Huh.
So yeah, I mean, it's and you know what? And for the most part of history, it was the other way around, wasn't it, Darian? It was you know, you got extra rights because you got a dick.
Yeah, because you're a man, you know.
Yeah,
because you're out there getting the honor and building the houses, bringing home the meat. Yeah, but now it seems to have the power has shifted in the other direction.
thanks to the state.
Thanks to the state,
the great equalizer.
Hey, but we're not women hating, you know, mongoloids over here. No, we love women. We respect women, you know, very much so. We can't say that for most you know, men out there. We're not speaking for the majority, but as individuals, we speak for ourselves.
Yeah, right.
So just to kind of wrap things up, man, I kind of want to talk about what was going on downtown today. We had a nice little cultural festival going on. I forget the name of the Indian festival. Exactly what was it called, Rich?
I don't know, but it's interesting that it fell.
I don't know.
It's interesting that it fell on the Day of the Dead.
Yeah, that was pretty interesting. Most people were going down there, you know, face painted up for Day of the Dead, and and it was a Hindu festival.
Yeah, I think it was one of the Hindu festivals, but it's all. I mean, it's the timing is quite
it's quite weird. Yeah,
synchronized.
Now the significance of me wanting to talk about this, it was interesting that when we went down there, we talked to an Indian male, and we had asked him if what kind of event this was and who was it funded by. Now, he had stated for us that the whole event was funded by the city. And when we went to go talk to cops, you know, after interacting with that guy, we had learned that the cops had no idea who was funding the event. We were told by a couple police officers that the event was funded by a private party. And then that they most of them were off duty, and that they were being paid by a private party. But it's weird because it's like, okay, if it's a city event, then who's the private party that's paying you? They just seemed very misinformed about why they were there, what was going on, who am I getting paid by. It seems like there was just a bunch of officers, quote unquote, off duty in uniform, just standing around, you know, taking up their own personal time just to, you know, just keep watch over us, and it was funny because it wasn't a hostile environment. It wasn't even like, it's not like
There was a lot of cops out there.
yeah, and it wasn't like it was like a fiesta where a lot of people are drinking. Actually, I didn't really see anybody drinking. I didn't see any. The vibe was very good. Like there was no hostility. So really, to me, it felt like there was no need for the cops to be there. And then most of them were saying that they were there for crowd control. But it's funny, how can you be observing, controlling crowd when you're sitting on your phone on Facebook, tweeting, talking to, your friends or whatever. And then we had a couple cops just chatting around saying, "Oh, we're making sure no one steals his beer." It's just like, hey man, ain't nobody stealing the beer, bro. You right in front of it. Okay, what kind of criminal is gonna go up me?
I'm sure the guys that own the beer can take care of that themselves.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they can take care of that themselves. But it's funny. It's like, what kind of criminal you gonna go up, be like, "Oh, there's those two cops in the front of this beer stand. I hope they don't see me snatch up a case."
Yeah.
It's like, come on. I don't think anybody's gonna steal, man. You got all that weaponry on you.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. But we went around, talked to some people on the streets.
Yeah, it was a good day of filming.
Letting people know what's up. But I don't know. We got the elections coming up. I don't know, guys. I mean, do what thou wilt, but let's focus on building community. Let's get some solutions going. We already know a lot of these solutions. We seriously got to start living in the same neighborhood, on the same street, and getting some community security going. Getting some alternative securities going. Shoot. I mean, we got to start engaging more and more in gray market activity. Start making more and more money underneath the table.
Oh yeah, keeping it out of IRS hands.
Yeah. Why are we encouraging, and why are we helping our oppressor financially, right? Why are we helping them through consent, by voting? Why are we helping them through legitimizing them, by partaking in their games and their theatrics? And it's just a big theater, it's just a big theater to get you to submit to them, to get you to comply. And there's a reason they have to get you to sign a ticket, right? When you get a ticket, same thing goes with voting. In order for them to justify their rulership over you, I mean, you have to vote, right?
You got to sign your soul away.
You got to vote, and you voted, so it does, your party lost. You voted. You have to comply with the fact that you lost. So, and we know that democracy is a lie. It's an illusion. It doesn't exist. I mean, it's no one has the right to. 90% of the people don't have a right to vote away the rights of anybody. I mean, natural rights are universally applied.
Yeah, that right wasn't given to you,
yeah,
naturally by birth, by you being a human being. No, it's brought to you by, government.
So what are we doing voting, for utilitarian purposes? Oh, because we got a reform passed, or because we got a candidate in office. What? So again, so you just made your leash a little bit longer or whatever. You got some kickbacks. You got some bill passed or something. I mean, other than that, we have to appeal. We have to repeal Obamacare ourselves. We have to repeal, gun laws ourselves. We have to repeal, trade restrictions ourselves. The blacks weren't freed by voting and asking them to be free. They
didn't go up to the masses and be like, "Hey, look, I work really hard in these fields, but look, I need a day off.
Can I be free? We voted on it.
We all signed this petition, master. Saying that you should just go ahead and let us go. No, they went underground with that. They had the
Underground Railroad.
Railroad.
They broke the law. Ooh,
because the law was, hey, these guys gotta be enslaved. They gotta be in shackles. You can't, walk your slave around in public without, putting a chain on them.
Yeah, it's pretty bad, man. It's pretty disgusting. It's pretty disgusting. But you know what? I mean, as far as slavery goes, that's pretty disgusting. But you know what? Thank God, people were willing to take the risk and willing to free people, and that's what we need. We need freedom fighters who are willing to take risks for liberty. And I don't mean risks as in, like you I don't know, you protested or something, or you got yourself arrested for this and that. Like, yeah, if you get busted, building your counter economy, okay, yeah, you went down as a political prisoner at that point, right?
As a political prisoner.
Yeah, I mean, if you're arrested, if you get fined for voluntary action, any voluntary action that hurt nobody, you're a political prisoner. And of course, our objective shouldn't be to get caught, right? We want to save resources. We want to build resources. We already know this as Austrian economists, that the only way we can get something done is through savings. How are you going to save enough money to get a major project accomplished if you're always having to pay the state, because you got a fine or a ticket for protesting, or because you got arrested for this or that? I mean, it becomes counterproductive. You're just giving them your money now. You're just giving them your labor. That talk about counter-revolutionary, right? I mean, so we need to. This is where agorism gets kind of crazy. A lot of people think it's what do they call it, like delusionalism, or like running away, escapism, right? We want to escape the problem, but no.
But we're suffering from Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah, a lot of these people are definitely suffering from Stockholm. They think that they acknowledge. I mean, that's what I don't understand about Rothbard, for example. Like, hey, I love Rothbard's economics, and I love his analysis on the market and the state, and a lot of the things that he brought to the table. But the fact that he was so involved in parliamentary politics and in voting and the whole political process, I mean, that's just I don't get it. I don't see the logic in that. I just don't. I mean, if you're going to admit to the fact And ladies and gentlemen, I really don't know what happened there. As you know, we have our computer constantly effing up here, and got to get some new gear. I don't know if it overheats or something, but it only happens on this show, and I do several shows on this, and I don't know. I don't know what's happening. But, we were just finishing it up on voting and how we need to quit acting like a bunch of pathetic little peasants that are begging for scraps off the table, and just need to live it up, right? Live free and die hard, right? So definitely, guys.
Did you really just quote that?
No, I don't know. But in all seriousness, the All Expo next week, Austin, Texas. Check that out. And check that out on Facebook. The event, I'm sure, will be live streamed and will be recorded and all that. So, and other than that, ladies and gentlemen, you know what's up. You know that you are the change the world needs to see. You are the next entrepreneur, the next inventor, the next radical activist. So get to work. Get to work. We'll catch you next week. Godspeed. Laissez-faire. Peace.